All right, shalom, shalom. First off, give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakar giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, all the men and the women who follow. This is the brother Kratazah from the GMS Nebraska camp, coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. This one being entitled "A Time and a Place for Spiritual Power." All right, so let's start this off with Ecclesiastes 3:1. It says, "To everything there's a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven." All right, so as far as spiritual power is concerned, uh, let's preface that scripture with this. This is Matthew chapter 10 and verse 1. It says, "And when he had called unto him, and when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, speaking about Yahweh Shai, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease." So this is something that you may be able to kind of like breeze through. But he said that the Lord gave him or gave them the 12, he gave them the spiritual power, all right, to be able to cast out demons, all right, to be able to heal the sick, to heal the excuse me, to heal all manner of disease. That's not a light thing. All right, this wasn't just um, you know, them believing or just it happened randomly. No, the Lord had the spirit on him to be able to do these things, and he endowed the 12 with that same spirit to be able to do these things. All right. But like I said, there's a time and a purpose and a time and a place for every I don't want to butcher it. There's a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. It was needful in these times, all right, that the Lord healed the sick, that the Lord healed all manner of disease and cast out demons. All right, because he's Yahweh Shai. He is the Messiah. The Hamashiach. So it had to be seen in these times. All right, in these um the times of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. But these days aren't the same. It's not the same in these times, which we'll get to that. But let's just get a couple of examples. All right. So let me see, back this up real quick. This is Matthew 14 and 13. It says, "When Yahushua heard of it, he departed thence by ship into to a desert place apart. And when the people had heard thereof, they followed him on foot out to cities." So everybody knew who Yahushua was, and they wanted to see him. So they gathered, in droves, in great multitudes, as the scripture says, to see him, to listen to him, to get an idea on, what the Messiah had to say. It says, "And Yahushua went forth and saw a great multitude and was moved with compassion toward them and healed their sick." Right? So imagine that happening today. People would be going out their mind, you know. But I don't want to jump the gun, so let's keep reading. Okay. Uh, it says, and when it was evening, the disciples came to him, saying, "This is a desert place, and the time is now past. Send the multitude away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves victuals." Hey, send them away so that they can go buy some food or go buy something to eat. But Yahweh said unto them, they need not depart, give them to eat. He said, no, no, I ain't gotta go nowhere, give some to eat. And they said unto him, we have here but 5 loaves and 2 fishes. He said, bring them hither to me. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass. And he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, and looking up to heaven, he blessed and brake and gave the loaves to the disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. And they did all eat and were filled, and they took up the fragments that remained, 12 baskets full. And they that had eaten were about 5,000 men, beside women and children. Right? 5,000 people ate off 5 fishes and 2 loaves. But the disciples had the power to do it the whole time. It was their belief. They didn't understand it. Lethal shooter. I understand it now. They didn't understand it. They didn't understand the power that the Lord had given them. By the time you get into Acts, that's when, that's when they fully understood it. That's when, they're able to, let's just get it. Let's get it. Let me see. Bear with me here. Just bear with me. Here we go. This is Acts 3 and 1. It says, now Peter and John went up together into the temple of the hour of prayer, being the 9th hour. And a certain man, lame from his mother's womb, was carried, whom they had laid daily at the gate of the temple, which is called Beautiful, to ask alms of them that entered into the temple. Who, seeing Peter and John about to go into the temple, asked an alms. And Peter, fastening his eyes upon him with John, said, look on us. And he gave him heed unto them, expecting to receive something of them. And Peter said, silver and gold have I none, but such as I have, but such as I have, give I thee. And in the name of Yahushua Hamashiach of Nazareth, rise up and walk. He understood it. He understood the power and the responsibility that the Lord had given them. All right. And he was able to fully believe and use it, utilize it. It says, and he took him by the right hand and lifted him up, and immediately his feet and ankle bones received strength, and he leaped up. He leaped up, stood, and walked, and entered with them into the temple, walking and leaping and praising the Most High. And all the people saw him walking and praising the Most High, and they knew that, it was he which sat for alms at the beautiful gate of the temple, and they were filled with wonder and amazement at that which had happened unto him. But this is for these times. All right. This is when, the gospel Yahweh Shai Mashiach, all right, the way is changing, all right, when it's going from us following the law, okay, to us being saved by faith and by grace. So these miracles were necessary, all right, to jumpstart the belief. But now we're in the time of judgment, all right. This is not the time to be out here healing or casting out demons. Even though I believe demons can be cast out in these times. I believe if you believe and you call on the name of Yahweh Shem Shai, you can cast out a demon. But this is not the time for an apostle to come lay their hands on you and remove the cancer from your body. It's not the time for that. You have to go on your own healing journey for that. It's the time for that, for us to level up within ourselves. All right. So uh going back to Matthew 14 and verse 22, it says, and straightway Yahushua constrained his disciples to get into a ship and to go before him unto the other side while he sent the multitude away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when evening was come, he was there alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night, Yahushua went unto them, walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is a spirit. And they cried out for fear. But straightway Yahushua spake unto him, saying, Be of good cheer. It is I, be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water. Remember, they already had the spirit that was given unto him to do these kind of miracles. And Peter believed, and he asked to come walking through the water. Let me come to you. And he said, Come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Yahushua. Right? So Peter was just utilizing the spirit that Yahushua had put on them. It says, but when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid and began to sink. He cried, saying, Lord, save me. Right? His unbelief, his fear, stopped him. All right, let me see. This is 2 Timothy's 1:7. It says, For the Most High have not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind, of a sound mind. Right? So he didn't have that sound mind. He didn't have the spirit of love and truth and power. He was fearful, and because he was fearful, that unbelief crept in. Like he couldn't maintain it. That's why he began to sink. Okay, so what did Yahushua say? And immediately Yahushua stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? Like, bro, why did you doubt? You was out here with me. You walking on water, and it doesn't say how far he went. Maybe he took 2 steps. Maybe he took 20. But, those waves started crashing, and that's when that fear kept in. And a lot of times, we'll go through something in life and we'll be doing good, and then a little adversity come our way, and we fold. But we have to remember these stories. Everything that was written aforetime was meant for our learning, so we need to be able to use this as an example for us. But like I said, going back to the main point, to everything there's a season and a time and every purpose under the heaven. Back then it was needful for these events to happen, for people to be able to walk on water, for people to be able to heal the sick in the lame. All right. But if that was to happen in these times, everybody would just be converted. All right. It wouldn't be, for an elect. But that's why Esau is causing these miracles. Let me see. I think that's how it's. Um, Bear with me here. Dang, y'all bear with me. Um, all right, this is Revelation 19:20. It says, "And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him." Fuck it. So we know that the NATO, the EU, America, this is the beast system that we're in. All right, and the false prophet is the Catholic Church. They wrought miracles before them, right? With which he deceived them that received the MOT to the B, right? Which is the RFID chip. So those are those miracles that they're going to be performing with Tesla and or Neuralink, should I say? Which is going to be healing people, which is going to be allowing the lame man to walk, all right, the blind man to see. You ain't never been able to lift something with your hands. It's gonna allow you to do that. These are gonna be the miracles that people are gonna see in these times. All right, it's gonna be off. It's gonna be wicked. It's not gonna be of the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, but like I said, Isaiah 6:10, it says, "Make the heart of this people fat, and make their eyes heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert and be healed." Right? Because if Jake seen, Apostle Tahar, Apostle Ramla, Apostle Gabar, and Apostle Rakah going around all around America healing people and people joining the camp, everybody would join unto them. It would be clear as day. All right. But the Lord chose the base out of this world. All right. He chose men out of this world. He said the world would love his own. So there's an opposition. Let's get that real quick. Come on. This is St. John 15:19. It says, "If ye were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you." Right? So we're separate, right? There's a separation, sanctified, holy, all right, separated from the people. So if these miracles were to happen in these times, there'd be no separation. The world would love that. right? Oh, they would be convinced. But this is the time of judgment. This is the time for you to willingly come to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And everything is done by his will, and the elect is chosen from the beginning. But the way it's going to play out, his chosen is going to always be his chosen, and they're going to wake up and they're going to come to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, and the 2/3 will not. It's just how the story is written. All right. This is Matthew 16:4. It says, "A wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall no sign be given it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas, and he left them and departed." Right. So if the apostles was going around healing people, and then he gave that ability to like camp leaders and men within the camp to heal the sick and to bring people back, then all of Jake would just follow, But we're not in that time. But Jake need to see that in order to follow Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So they would need that sign, to see and understand. Oh, well, damn! I guess we really is Hebrew. Everybody being Hebrew Israelite. It wouldn't be, those weird niggas on the corner. All right, everyone would be an Israelite. Because then it would be cool to be an Israelite. You'd be so-called vindicated. All right, so let's get this last precept. It says, Isaiah 59:19. It says, "So they shall fear the name of the Lord from the west, and the glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him." All right, so that's talking about, the Lord is going to endow his men with spiritual powers in these times, but it's going to be during Jacob's trouble, when it's a time that never was before, when you had to go through, these temptations and pass with flying colors. That's the time and the purpose. We still got that? Maybe not. I guess I'm going to get something else, but that's the time and the place in the season for the spiritual powers in these times. All right. So, Lord's word, this is edifying. And, we give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem, Rakar giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, all the men and women who follow. Shalom.